So, the summer driving season is upon us, and gas prices have fallen. How about that? I'm Mark Stewart with an explanation. It's an easy one. It's called the free market. And in the free market, even six big bad oil companies cannot keep their prices high. In the face of what's almost insatiable demand for their product. Okay, gasoline, you got to have it. We have seen when prices were at nearly $5 a gallon and very little diminution in the amount of gas purchased. We got to have our gas. It is what's called inelastic demand. No matter how high the price, Americans still buy. But companies can't keep their prices high. Why? It's called competition because if they try to sustain an artificially high price, some other company is going to undercut them and get business. The oil companies, it's a perfect example. Big, but not that powerful in the face of consumers who can see prices on almost every street corner and move to the next guy, especially when their product is almost undifferentiatable. I mean, Mobil might have slightly cleaner gasoline. I don't know. But pretty much gas is gas is gas. So our ability to divert in any urban area where there's multiple stations is so easy. And that's what keeps gas prices not so high. There are very few oligopolies. For a while, 3 TV networks. Okay, but people didn't seem to demand a whole lot of other networks besides ABC, NBC, CBS. When people started to, even networks as heavy on infrastructure as it takes, still branched off. And in the 90s, we developed 3 more networks. And 20 years after that, we had such fragmentation that the big 3 networks are now less than half of the viewership. Airlines. For a while, they were able to set prices, okay? There are textbook cases of airline CEOs calling one another saying, raise your effing prices. And for a while, it did work. But even with some price controls by airlines, the airlines didn't make a whole lot of money. Warren Buffett studied airline industry for 100 years of aviation in this country and concluded that the airlines on the whole netted 0 profit. And consumers still had relatively low domestic fares. They're even lower now, once again, because of competition. You can fly coast to coast round trip for $500 if you shop around. Holy cow, you can't drive for $500 gas maintenance on your car. And if you try to, you'd still be spending 45 hours round trip. So you end up with such a great benefit that airlines at their medium, and yes, if you want to pay high prices, you can find them. But plan in advance, airlines are still a pretty good deal and getting better because of more and more competition. Google is to some people scary because they're the #1 browser. The Chrome has almost all developers play to Chrome. Sometimes they don't develop for other things. I don't think that's going to last either. There will be enough demand for the developer that builds a better mousetrap to not replace Google, but to be in competition, make some money, and draw consumers who don't want to buy into Google. Now, how do you empower consumers like us? More information, more transparency, letting developers know what we want. It's called voting with your feet and putting some money down for new things that are possibly better than the old. I bought my last device not from Google, a little upstart, because I want to give them a chance. Maybe they'll grow and be a competitor to Google. Now look, Google still provides free stuff, okay? Don't criticize too darn much. If the pop-ups are that annoying, eventually you'll migrate to some browser without pop-ups. I am on record. I will pay $100 a year to the company that builds browsers that don't collect my information. Okay, the company that does that is going to get, well, let's say even 1% of the sophisticated global internet users latch onto that company's products. They make $200 billion a year. Okay, so look what that offer of consumers like me does. It gets developers developing as if they hadn't been on the way themselves. Open competition, transparency leads to good results. So what can a consumer do? Encourage other developers. Buy stuff from the little guy. Eschew the big guy who seems abusive. You all know that I've stopped Disney. I do not use Disney. A hard thing for me because they own ESPN. But when they became abusive of American workers, I turned them off cold turkey. Stopped with Uber when they became abusive of female workers. I'm a Lyft guy now. Voting with your feet gives you and the rest of the economy the better chance of getting stuff for you at better prices. Even big companies can't sustain themselves in huge margins in the free market. I'm Mark Stewart.